This is a special presentation of Victoria Generals Baseball.
Five days left to go in the Texas Collegiate League regular season, and one team in the Baton Rouge Rougarou sits on the brink. One more loss and one more defeat of the Lake Charles Gumbo Gators to the Acadiana King Cutters, and the Moys in maroon and blue out in Lafayette could steal the final postseason spot away from the black and green. Meanwhile, the Victoria Generals, your Victoria Generals, who crossed the 30-win threshold a night ago, look to play spoiler in that effort to finalize the 4-team bracket by the end of the night. It is game 2 of this 2-game set between your Victoria Generals and the Baton Rouge Rougarou here from Riverside Stadium on the banks of the Guadalupe River. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Party Box here at Riverside Stadium. Max Cepeda here once again, here with you, and more importantly, a whole lot of storylines to break down as we head into this one, but we start, of course, like we are going to for much of tonight, and really for a whole lot of tonight's broadcast, is this graphic right here, the current TCL standings, which we've shown you every single night here on the Victoria Generals Broadcast Network, and for proper reason, as the Baton Rouge Rougarou, you may have noticed, have now evened themselves with the Acadiana King Cutters overall. Both squads now sit a game under 500. The King Cutters and the King Cutters and Gumbo Gators were able to finish their suspended contest from last night that was suspended in the middle of the 5th inning a night ago. They were able to finish the contest before 7 o'clock. They started it around 5, and the King Cutters were able to hold on to that 6-1 victory the 6-1 lead that they had before the suspension a night ago is the same scoreline they would have when it was finalized just about a half hour ago, which means the King Cutters now sit exactly 3 games ahead of Baton Rouge when it comes to that second semifinal spot in Louisiana, and more importantly, the final spot in the postseason bracket. The Generals, on the other hand, they're 30-12, 40-5 in the second half. They are most likely going to be the best second half team in the league, but of course they have that 4-game series with the Bombers to end the regular season that starts tomorrow, which could be 6 or 7 games against Brazos Valley, which we'll obviously look at in our upcoming Generals schedule. But more importantly, this is what we're fighting for, of course. This is the Texas Collegiate League bracket. If the season ended today, you see the King Cutters are still in that second spot right there above Lake Charles. They would play Lake Charles in that Louisiana semifinal if the season ended today, and that would be finalized if the Acadiana King Cutters beat Lake Charles again later tonight in the second game of that series. And if your Victoria Generals pull out a victory against Baton Rouge, that would make the difference between the two sides 4 games in that second half standings. And by doing so, as we go back to the standings graphic here, just so we reiterate the point, you can see the blue number in the white shading that's right next to the second half record, that's underneath the overall record. That white number is what matters. You see the number 3 where Baton Rouge is concerned. That means that they are not only going to have to basically win out the rest of this regular season over these next 5 days, they're also going to need help from the Acadiana King Cutters. Because while both teams are basically the exact same when it comes to overall records, the 11-8 and 7-10 difference is what matters. And if Baton Rouge falls to 7-11 in the second half and Acadiana goes to 12-8, that will be the final nail in the coffin for the King Cutters to clinch that 4th and final postseason spot. Obviously, for your Victoria Generals, this is the final time they play an opponent that is not the Brazos Valley Bombers, at least for the foreseeable future, as they obviously begin the 4-game series, 2 of which in Bryan College Station starting tomorrow and Friday, and then obviously back here at Riverside Saturday and Sunday. Saturday night, of course, being, of course, our Strikeout Cancer Night, presented by our friends at Citizens Medical Center, that are going to be providing, of course, pink jerseys for the Victoria Generals to wear on that second and final day against the Bombers on July 27th. The regular season finishes on July 28th, and then, of course, the Texas semifinals begin. Game 1, July 30th, this coming Tuesday, with the semifinals starting in Bryan College Station at Edible Field for Game 1. Game 2, we will be here back on July 31st, here on the next Wednesday, which is a week from today, and then a week from tomorrow, if both sides split that for those first 2 games of that best-of-3 series, it will be a winner-take-all Game 3 on Thursday night, August 1st, to determine who will represent the state of Texas in the Texas Collegiate League Championship game next Saturday on August 3rd. Let's take a look now at our men on the bump, presented by our friends at Texas Roadhouse. Hayden Tronson will be on the mound for your Victoria Generals, 2-1 with a 2.45 ERA, 33 innings pitched, 25 hits, 16 walks, and 13 strikeouts. Tronson coming off an effective outing a week ago in Game 3 of the 4-game series against the Seguin Vermonsters. That game was taking place, of course, right here at Riverside Stadium. And for Tronson, it was probably one of his more maybe inconsistent outings, to say the least. Went 5 innings, 2 earned runs, 6 hits, 4 walks, 2 strikeouts. Had to get a lot of help from his defense to really push through those 5 innings. However, the last time he faced these Baton Rouge Rougarou, which was 2 weeks ago at Pete Goolsbee Field, he was stellar. 6 innings of 1-run baseball, 5 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts as well. Tronson's going to be somebody who mostly relies on his defense. He obviously has a very effective breaking ball as well as the changeup that Tronson loves to use. Not necessarily is going to be the power pitcher that is going to rely on strikeouts. Meanwhile, for the Baton Rouge Rougarou, it is going to be a debut. That is Riley Marcotte, who is going to be making the start for the Baton Rouge Rougarou. He is the University of Louisiana Raging Cajun. He only made 1 appearance for the UL Raging Cajuns this past season. He has a true freshman, Riley Marcotte. He was the number 3 ranked left-handed pitcher in Louisiana out of high school, but in this past true freshman season, Marcotte never necessarily got a whole lot of playing time. He is now inserted into this roster basically at the very last minute. He joined and signed on Sunday, which was the roster cutoff day before rosters were officially frozen on Sunday night at midnight last week. So Marcotte now going to be making his TCL debut and really now put into this pressure situation and this pressure cooker for Baton Rouge and allowing a bases-loaded walk. But as I mentioned, he was the number 3 rated left-handed pitcher out of high school, went to Louisville High, was a Class 2A All-Star selection, was named Best of the Tesh Award recipient. He was named by the Daily Advertiser's All-Acadiana baseball team. He recorded 12 strikeouts with a 0.0 ERA in the Perfect Game All-Tournament team 2 years ago. So he is someone who is incredibly talented in high school. Riley Marcotte is. The question is he going to be able to bring that to this collegiate level in a place where he hasn't had that much collegiate ball experience, only 1 appearance, as we mentioned, at UL, and going against someone like Hayden Tronson, who obviously has had much more time to at least develop, especially in this TCL summer, and will be fairly interesting to see how this pitching matchup diverges between the two, especially with the Rougarou fighting for their postseason lives tonight. So as the first pinch has just been thrown, we'll obviously have starting lineups in the national anthem just after this. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back on the other side with starting lineups and their first pinch. But once again, we will be reminding you as we head to break, like we do every single night, the current standings across the Texas Collegiate League. Baton Rouge needs a win and help to keep their postseason hopes alive. Victoria looking to play spoiler to the black and green. We'll be back on the other side with first pitch and starting lineups here on TCL TV.